Aja Wilson just said something about Caitlin Clark that's got everyone talking. Is there a secret behind her words? You might think you know the whole story, but there's more to this than meets the eye. Let's break down what's really going on between these two WNBA stars. Wilson's been throwing some shade Clark's way, and it's not just about game skills. She's talking about the media hype, the attention, and yeah, even race. But here's the thing, this isn't just about two players beefing. It's bigger than that. You might be wondering, what's the real deal here? Well, it's not just about who's the best on the court. This whole situation could change the way we look at women's basketball. It's about who gets the spotlight, who gets the deals, and who gets left in the shadows. Stick around because we're about to dive into why Wilson's words matter more than you might think. Let's talk about the media hype machine. It's been working overtime, painting a picture of A'ja Wilson and Caitlin Clark as bitter rivals. But is that really the truth, or are we all being played? The media loves a good rivalry story. It's like catnip for sports fans. And with Clark bursting onto the scene, they thought they struck gold. Here's a fresh-faced rookie challenging the established star. It's David versus Goliath, only both of them can dunk. But let's rewind a bit. Clark didn't come out of nowhere. Her college career was nothing short of spectacular. She became the NCAA's all-time leading scorer. That's not just good, that's history-making, and the media ate it up. Clark led Iowa to back-to-back national championship games. Suddenly, women's basketball was getting primetime coverage. People who'd never watched a women's game before were tuning in. Clark wasn't just playing basketball, she was changing the game. Then came the big leagues. Clark signed with Nike, and it wasn't just any deal. We're talking about the most lucrative contract for a women's basketball player ever. Nike saw dollar signs, and they weren't wrong. The WNBA's viewership shot up. More eyes on the screens, more butts in the seats. And a lot of that buzz, it was all about Clark, the rookie sensation, the next big thing. But here's where it gets tricky. All this attention on Clark, it's not sitting well with everyone. Some folks are asking, what about the other players? What about the veterans who've been grinding for years? The media is creating this narrative of Wilson versus Clark, the established star feeling threatened by the rookie phenom. It's juicy, it's dramatic, but is it real? Think about it. The media thrives on conflict. They're not interested in everyone gets along fine. They want fireworks. They want drama. And if they can't find it, sometimes they'll create it. So every word Wilson says about Clark gets scrutinized. Every comment gets blown up into a headline. Wilson slams Clark. Wilson jealous of rookie's success? It's like they're writing scripts for a soap opera, not covering sports. But what if this whole rivalry is just smoke and mirrors? What if Wilson's comments aren't about hating on Clark, but about something bigger? Remember, Wilson's been in the league for years. She's seen players come and go. She knows the pressure rookies face. When she talks about Clark, she's not just talking about one player, she's talking about the whole system. And here's the kicker. While everyone's busy talking about Clark, other talented players are getting left in the shadows. The media is so focused on this one rookie that they're missing the bigger picture. There are amazing players all across the WNBA, veterans who've been putting up incredible numbers for years, young talents who are just starting to hit their stride. But how many of them are getting Nike deals? How many of them are seeing their faces on billboards? The media hype machine has created a monster. It's not just about Clark anymore. It's about who gets seen, who gets heard, and who gets left behind. You might think you've got A'ja Wilson all figured out. The fierce competitor, the WNBA champion, throwing shade at the new kid on the block. But hold up, there's more to this story than just a veteran player feeling threatened. Let's rewind a bit. Yeah, Wilson had some choice words about Caitlin Clark, but here's where it gets interesting. After those initial comments, Wilson started singing a different tune. She's not just criticizing Clark anymore, she's calling for understanding. Wilson's been in Clark's shoes. She knows what it's like to be the hot new thing in the league, and she's got some wisdom to share. People don't give her a chance, Wilson said. We tell our rookies every single day, this is new. You're coming into a whole new world and starting over. Think about that for a second. Wilson's not just talking about Clark here. She's talking about every rookie who's ever stepped onto a WNBA court. It's not easy being the new kid, especially when the whole world is watching. And boy, is the world watching Clark. The pressure on this rookie is insane. Imagine being 22 years old, fresh out of college, and suddenly you're expected to save an entire league. That's a lot to put on anyone's shoulders. Wilson gets it. She's been there. She knows the WNBA isn't just a step up from college ball, it's a whole new universe. You're playing against the best of the best, night after night, no breaks, no easy games. It's a grind. But here's where it gets really interesting. Clark's not backing down from the challenge. When asked about Wilson's comments, especially the ones about race, Clark didn't get defensive. Instead, she took the high road. I think there's opportunities for every single player in women's basketball, Clark said. The more we spread the love, show people, show their talents, show their teams, that's just going to continue to elevate it. That's not just a rookie talking, that's a leader. Clark's not here to hog the spotlight. She wants to lift the whole league up. And you know what? Wilson's on board with that. Despite what the headlines might have you believe, Wilson's not out here trying to tear Clark down. In fact, she's got Clark's back. You want proof? Listen to this. Both Wilson and coach Becky Hammon have straight up dismissed the idea that WNBA players are jealous of Clark. Hammon didn't mince words. Let's be very clear, we love Caitlin Clark, she said. This narrative of everybody hating on her, knock it off, it's not there. So what's really going on here? Why all the fuss if there's no real beef between Wilson and Clark? It's bigger than just these two players. It's about the whole WNBA. It's about how the media portrays women's sports. It's about who gets attention and why. Wilson's frustrated, and can you blame her? I felt like I was mentally tired in that whole whirlwind of people constantly saying, "Aja, you're only known because of Caitlin," she said. Think about that. Wilson's a superstar in her own right. She's won championships, MVP awards, but suddenly it's like none of that matters because there's a new star in town. This isn't just about Wilson and Clark, it's about every player in the WNBA, the veterans who've been grinding for years without recognition, the rookies trying to make a name for themselves, the players who don't fit the media's idea of a star. Clark's arrival in the WNBA isn't just shaking up the on-court dynamics, it's forcing us to look at how we talk about women's sports, how we market it, how we value different players. Alright, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Race. Aja Wilson didn't just hint at it, she came right out and said it. I think it's a huge thing, Wilson stated. I think a lot of people may say it's not about black and white, but to me, it is. Whoa, that's not something you hear every day in sports interviews. But Wilson's not backing down, she's putting it all out there, and we need to listen. Wilson's frustration isn't just about one player getting more attention, it's about a system that she feels overlooks black women, no matter how talented they are. It really boils my blood when people say it's not about race, because it is, Wilson emphasized. Think about it. Wilson's at the top of her game. She's won championships, MVP awards. She's the kind of player kids dream of becoming, but she's worried that being top-notch as a black woman might not be enough in the eyes of marketers and media. This isn't just about basketball anymore. Wilson's words have sparked a much bigger conversation about race and representation in sports. Who gets to be the face of a league? Who gets the big endorsement deals? Who gets their story told? The WNBA has got some of the most talented athletes in the world, but how many of them are household names? How many of them are getting the Clark treatment? Billboards, TV commercials, social media buzz. It's not that Clark doesn't deserve attention. She's an incredible player with a bright future ahead of her, but Wilson's point is that there are other incredible players too, especially black players, who aren't getting the same spotlight. This situation is forcing us to take a hard look at how women's sports are marketed. Is the WNBA doing enough to promote a diverse range of players? Are they showcasing the full spectrum of talent in the league, or just focusing on a select few? It's a tricky balance. On one hand, star power sells. Having a player like Clark who can draw in new fans is great for the league, but if that comes at the cost of sidelining other talented players, especially players of color, then we've got a problem. Wilson's comments aren't just about her personal frustrations, they're a wake-up call for the entire sports industry. It's time to ask some tough questions. Are we really giving all athletes an equal shot at stardom? Or are we letting unconscious biases shape who we promote and celebrate? This isn't just a WNBA issue, it's a reflection of larger problems in sports and society. Who gets to be the all-American athlete? Whose stories do we tell? Whose faces do we put on magazine covers? Wilson's bravery in speaking out is forcing us to confront these uncomfortable truths. She's using her platform to shine a light on issues that often get swept under the rug. And whether you agree with her or not, you've got to respect that. So what does this mean for the future of women's basketball? It's clear that things can't just continue as they are. The league needs to take a good hard look at its marketing strategies. They need to find ways to promote all their stars, not just the ones who fit a certain mold. But it's not just on the WNBA, it's on all of us, fans, media, sponsors. We need to broaden our view of what a sports star looks like. We need to celebrate the diversity that makes the WNBA great, not just focus on one or two players.